Welcome back, Spokane, to another episode of EvoReal Talks. I am your host, Matt Side.
And I am Jessica Side. Yeah, I have to tell you something. So before we started this, we were doing the sign-in that my son used to do on his YouTube channel, which was, What is up, guys? And so when he started, I thought for sure he was going to say, what is up, guys? And then when he said, welcome back, Spokane, I was like, oh yeah, that is the right way to do this.
Rock Solid Gaming. He's got a whole bunch more people that have liked his YouTube channel because somebody in the frat has found it.
Love it.
So go like Rock Solid Gaming and it will start. You'll know it's the right one when it's
What is up, guys? Rock Solid Gaming here.
Yep, that's right.
Anywho, here we go.
Hey, let's start with what's happening in Spokane. Because it seems like we're running out of time a lot of times in our radio show. We just get so many things going on. We don't get to that. So, two big things happening in Spokane.
Tell me about
I don't know
them.
if they're big things. I think they're big things.
They're fun things.
At the park downtown, there is an Ice Age movie marathon. It's actually been going on for several weeks now. They're going through all 5 of the Ice Age movies, and they're playing it on Wednesdays. From 8:30 to 10 p.m. at the Ice Age Floods Playground.
We have to do this.
Well, we should. We've got about 2 left. So
okay, well, that's
and actually, I don't even know if I've seen those Ice Age movies. The last 2.
I don't know.
So
there's a lot of them.
That might be kind of fun.
I think it'd be great.
There is also Arborcrest Concert Series is rocking and rolling. That is a Thursday and a Sunday thing every single week. It goes all the way through September.
We've done those a few times.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun, actually. We should do that as well.
It's so hot.
Well, okay, maybe we wait till it cools down. 5:30 to 7:30, and then I think in September they go back to a 4:30 to 6:30 because the time it starts getting darker.
Cool.
No, not cool. It just gets darker earlier.
Okay, wow, you're hilarious. But you can also bring your own wine. Like, you don't have to buy their wine.
Yeah, I think they might charge a corking fee or something
like
that.
Right. Okay, still not bad.
But, I mean, it's not bad wine up there.
No, it's great.
It's good wine up there.
I mean, I have no idea, but go ahead.
I also thought it would be really fun to get around to a What's to Love in Spokane
Okay.
You know what's to love in Spokane right now?
I don't.
Water.
Oh, okay.
Water.
Oh.
I was like, it's hot.
Yes.
What is to love about Spokane in the dog days of summer in August is the water. So I did, since it's been in the 90s and hundreds for so long this summer, consistently, I thought, well, let's just talk about where you can go do water stuff in Spokane.
All right.
So there are 23 lakes that are on the Visit Spokane website.
Sweet.
23 of them. And you can just go to visitspokane.com, things to do. There's a lakes and river section. There are 6 different access points to the Spokane River.
Okay.
You can launch a canoe or a kayak, or not a full-on boat, but you can launch the small stuff. I also, if you go to SpokaneRiverKeepers.org, I thought this was really cool. They have the entire Spokane River from the Post Falls Dam all the way down to, now I'm spacing out where it goes. I think all the way down to 9 Mile.
Okay.
Or Riverside State Park. That's where it goes. Sorry, my apologies. I blanked out. But the map, and it gives you all the access points, but then it also gives you every single class of rapids all the way through.
Yes. Because Riverside State Park is dangerous.
Well, it's just a different class of rapids.
Okay. I'm just saying, please don't be putting in at Riverside State Park.
And then as like where the dam is, like any dams or anyway, a good resource if you want to float the river, paddle the river, probably more likely than float the river. One thing I did several summers ago that was a ton of fun is that we got in at Barker, the bridge at Barker, and we had snorkels and wetsuits and fins.
Okay, when he says years ago, he literally means like 25 years ago. I just want to be clear how long ago. That is a quarter of a century.
Why do you have to bring that up?
If that's just a few years ago,
it's not like the river has changed that much in a quarter.
I just want to be clear.
Okay, fine. So a quarter of a century ago, I floated the Spokane River from Barker Bridge to Sullivan Bridge in a wetsuit.
Yep.
It is totally fun because you're just kind of paddling along. The wetsuit's buoyant, so you're floating.
That's
and then
really
you can
cool.
kind of go swim around. And then when you do hit the rapids, because there's a couple of, I think, class 1 and 2 rapids there. you can just kind of put your feet forward and just float
And you
along.
did this with a class.
Yeah, it was part of my like a scuba diving class, and that was
Mm-hmm.
one of our exercises. Anyway,
So
ton of fun.
if you're going to do that, maybe make sure you're well prepared for
Maybe
it.
just talk to the guys at the scuba store. They'll tell you how to get in the
Okay,
water and do
okay.
it safely. The last thing about the water
Uh-huh.
that I want to bring up is the Little Spokane River, which
Mm-hmm.
is really, truly a gem in Spokane. And so there is a put-in at St. George's,
Mm-hmm.
and you can float or kayak or paddleboard the Little Spokane
Yeah.
River all the way down to, I think it's 9 Mile, there where the highway is there. And super fun,
Yeah,
super
we've done that a
easy.
few
We've done it
times.
with the kids, when little kids. You can do it with the
The Parks Department has
Yeah,
a thing where
Spokane
you can go.
City Parks Department has a. You can go to their website, but they have a shuttle that runs Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. from through July and to September 5th. And
We're definitely gonna need to do
for
that.
$10, they'll like throw your kayak or your canoe on their trailer and take you back to the St. George's where you launched.
Super cool. I love that.
Anyway, that is a fun thing to love about Spokane.
It is a fun thing to love about Spokane.
Sure. Why don't I let you go into your
Okay.
part of it, and then if we have time at the end,
I guess the question is, how much time do you want at the end?
well,
we'll figure it out.
We're going to talk about buyer's remorse. I don't know. Nobody probably even wants to listen to what
that
I've got to
sounds
say.
terrible. Okay,
Boring.
so we will get into. So
I
last
thought we were going to
week,
make real estate fun again. Let's
We-
not even talk about buyer's remorse. We don't have remorse as buyers.
Okay, I want to talk. So last week I started on this journey of the original goal was, hey, let's talk about remodeling the primary bedroom in your house. And then I realized, gosh, there's a lot more to it. We really need to expound on this. And so we did last week, we just talked about design styles, which is really important to know what your design style is going to be for your bedroom.
Can you do a quick review of all those styles?
I'm going to on part 3 of this. Okay?
Well, why don't you do it right
No,
now? We can
I
pick
know.
the one that was our favorite.
Honey, just hold. I promise all is going to be well. All right. So when you start your project of designing your primary bedroom, the first thing that you need to do is create yourself a budget. And I'm not going to lie, that budget could change later on once you see the prices of things. And so, but you should have a basic budget of what you want to do so you can try and stay in that. Number 2, you need to measure. Now, how much do I love measuring?
We have more tape measures in the house and garage than any human should have.
Oh, that's not true. But here's the thing.
Isn't
You
there
need
one
to
on
know.
your fridge right now, magnetized to your fridge?
I don't have anything magnetized to my fridge, just so you all know. I'm that kind of a person.
Would that be a minimalist style?
Yeah, I try. It's not.
All right,
Doesn't
I'm
always
sorry.
work.
I'm hijacking your part of the show.
That's okay. So first of all, you need to know how big the room is, and you need to be able to. Here's what I do.
What do you do?
This is where I was getting to with my question to you, by the way. I always have grid paper in the house, and I do everything to scale. So I measure everything out, and then I do a to scale model of the room, and know where the doors are and where the windows are and all that kind of stuff. And then when I start to work with furniture and stuff, I actually make to scale model furniture as well.
You do.
Now, the reason I do this is because
They're cutouts, so she can move them around the
that's
room.
right. So I can cut them around.
There might be actually like drafting software that's cheap or free that you can do this on.
Yeah, I'm not as good at those. I've absolutely used those kinds of software. My brother is amazing at using that software. I'm okay at it. Here's what I will say. You want to be able to visualize the space. And, some bedrooms might be just super square. It's not a big deal. You're all you're going to do is put in, 3 pieces of furniture or 4 pieces of furniture, and then you're going to be done. Maybe you don't need to do that. But some rooms require a lot more. If you've got a large space, you actually probably want to measure it more because you want to know if you want to put in a sitting area, how much room do you have? What is your walking space? It's very important to be able to visualize the space that you have.
I kind of mock you a little bit for the graph paper, grid paper
Yes.
type stuff, but the reality is it is actually really helpful because you're moving stuff around and it looks okay on paper and you're like, well, how many feet are each of these squares? And,
Right.
well, we're not going to be able to fit through
12 inches.
or
or
even
whatever.
18 inches for
Yeah.
walking.
So it's really important. So measuring your space, and if you are into doing this, getting some grid paper and actually doing that. Number third thing that you need to do is decide on a design style. Yes. So that is, and it's going to be your starting point. Okay. So
Glam
and
is mine.
the reason why I say this is going to be a starting point is because it may change once you start getting further down the road. But I am going to review the design styles.
Well, if you start with Glam and you start going down that road, you're going to be like, why did I choose this one?
Matthew, the people out there that love Glam are going to hate you.
It's all right.
Okay, so
they hate me anyway because I have long hair.
Here were the... He's not going to have time at the end of this at all. I want you all to know.
Nobody wants to hear about buyer's remorse.
Okay, so traditional design, farmhouse, boho or bohemian, industrial, minimalist, Scandinavian, mid-century modern, coastal, glam, and zen. Okay, so those are and of course there's a ton more, offshoots of this. Like there's, for instance, Japandi is a whole design style that is like Japanese minimal. It's like modern Japanese. Anyway,
is that never mind.
Yes, thank you. Please don't go down whatever road you were about to go down. So that is really important. So we're creating a budget. We're measuring. We're deciding on. I believe that I'm going to want a boho style. Let's just say. Matt, what was your favorite of all of these? I have a guess of what here.
Give me the list again. I need to look at the list. It was
there you go.
Definitely no. It was between industrial and mid-century modern. Yeah. I like the two. Actually, I like a combination of the two. Like put a mid-century modern inside of an industrial space. Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to create a design board. And you have to ask, well, what does that mean? I'm not a designer. I don't want to pull out a piece of, a big piece of construction, what do you call that?
Paper?
A poster board, and put a bunch of stuff on it. That's not what I mean. I mean if you can use Pinterest, that's absolutely the best because you can pin stuff from all over the place. You can look at other people's pin boards, I should say. So Pinterest is an option. Also, one of the things that I do is I will save links to things, so I'll have a bunch of design ideas. Now, the problem is with that is it's not as visual, right? Because then you have to click into every single one and go to that. So that's not my favorite.
Suffer.
But I use Pinterest, and I've also used Houzz. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Houzz.
You should become if you want to do some design stuff.
Houzz, and you can put you can search in there, and then you can make folders for all of your different design ideas, and then it's visual. You're seeing it. If you're not tech savvy and you're like, I don't know how to use Pinterest, I don't know how to use Houzz, you can take a screenshot with your phone or take a literal picture of and then it's still visual. It's all in your phone. So somehow, some way, you want to be able to gather a bunch of ideas and consolidate them into some kind of visual that you can look at. Now, when you're doing the searching, the cool thing is you can search by design style. That's a possibility. You can search by color.
And you're talking like online searches.
Online searches. So you're still going to want to do your searches online. It just depends on how you're going to catalog it.
Right. I just want to make sure and clarify that when you're doing your searches, you're not driving around to stores.
I'm not. On the internet. At this point, you are just trying to gather as many ideas and really add anything that inspires you. And if it's outside of your design style, it's okay because this is where there might be some changes to what you do. So I might start out thinking that I want to do mid-century, and then I start being and I'm taking all these screenshots and Pinterest boards, and I realize, oh, I really like boho better than I even like mid-century for this. So it could change. So you can search by a lot of things. One of the things that I do is I'll find a little keyword. So for instance, once when I was doing a remodel on our office, I realized, I like this reclaimed wood. So I would look up reclaimed wood, and then I'd put it with shelving, reclaimed wood, barn doors, and I just started putting that phrase in different versions of that phrase to get all kinds of wonderful ideas. add anything to that inspiration board that inspires you or you make a connection with. And I kind of want to tell a little bit of a story here because in my early and mid 20s, I basically had no real design sense when it came to furniture and rooms and things like that. My design sense was, can I get it at a garage sale, or is my mom going to pass it down to me? Because I didn't have any money and I just needed to furnish a house. When we first got married, I mean, I believe that the couch that we had was a free couch that was literally sitting on the side of the road.
What?
Yeah.
The green one or the
green
orangey
one.
yellow one?
The green one. Charlene found it for me. She said, Jessica, this is perfect. And I just was like, cool. You know, I just kind of went with whatever I could find, and that's just the way it was. Then as I started getting into my late 20s, all of my friends, all of them, were doing Pottery Barn looks. Right.
Sure.
It was the big leather couch with the, you know, oversized. My dad had that style thing, and I was like, okay. But I was super blasé about still design in general. I just didn't really care. Then I had the opportunity to do buying some new furniture, and I started to actually research it and look and figure out what I liked, and all of a sudden I discovered modern furniture. And I was like, oh, this I like. And it really changed
and I think this is helpful for the people listening and watching this.
Yes.
Was it because now all of a sudden you had a budget where you could kind of go outside of just what was in front of you? Was it just looking at these different design styles online and seeing what the pictures look like? Or was it actually walking down whatever it is, Western Avenue in Seattle, and going into dozens of stores to see get the feel of the space?
So number one, I did have some money. So now I could actually buy a nice couch, right? I could do something with that.
Didn't need to get one off the curb.
That's correct. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that. I love it. So I was able to have some money, and that was good. But then I started to go, well, what is there? What is there besides Pottery Barn? There's got to be something besides Pottery Barn. So I started looking at other stuff. And then I went down to Dania, because I went to all the furniture stores in Spokane. I went to Dania, and at that time especially, because this is several years ago,
was it several years ago?
Or was it a quarter of a century ago? It definitely was not a quarter of a century ago. Let me just tell you that. And I made that connection, and that connection just completely changed
So being in a store where you could see
but
the
also
different
online,
styles of furniture.
But also online. All of those things made a difference. And I think now with Pinterest and things like that, it's so incredible what you can do. And just by going through these different design styles that I told you, look them up and look for visuals, and you will start to make a connection. That was the key for me, is I made a connection with something that I loved, that felt like me. It wasn't like everybody else. And then I could kind of deep dive into that genre. And that's when we went to Seattle onto Western, which is one of the streets that has an amazing amount of those of modern furniture
stores. Well, furniture stores in general.
Yes. So that's really important. Make a connection to whatever you're going to do. All right. Now, so you've made your design board. Your search may change as that happens. You may, like I said, decide, ooh, I really like this glam look. Can't even imagine. Anyway.
But you're right. Some people really can pull it off.
They can. All right. Now, number 5. So we've talked about creating a budget, measuring, deciding on your design, creating a design board. Now it's time to edit your design board. So again, just like brainstorming, I say there's no bad ideas in brainstorming.
Eventually there are bad ideas because they're not all going to work.
This is the same thing. You want to put as much in there as possible, and then you want to start editing, and you want to start kind of getting and figuring out, refining those boards. I'm going to call them boards.
Sure.
To what you really like for this room. I may love a lot of things. I see some things and I go, I love that. I think that's beautiful, but I don't want to live in that. Okay, that's not what it's beautiful for someone else. It's not for me. And don't forget, you can actually mix styles. So I know there's some designers out there that will say maybe you shouldn't or can't, or hard and fast rules like we talked about last week. But let me tell you, I've done modern with industrial. I've done mid-century with industrial. I've done industrial with farmhouse, and I've done like mid-century and modern at the same time. So even in our house, like right now, we have a relatively modern house with clean lines, but I have a steel beam that runs, that holds up a beam that goes across, because I wanted a little bit of industrial in my house, because I think it makes a great statement. So having something that's kind of slightly outside of the ordinary, even a barn door, people will do that. It just gives this pop of like, oh, that's different. And I do get a lot of compliments on it because it just kind of stands out.
It's an accent piece, right? It
Correct.
doesn't fit everything exactly the same.
That's exactly
the rest
right.
of it.
So now, I have more, and I did say that this was probably going to be a 3-part series. So I have a whole other set of things that we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
Actually, let me finish here. With the last thing, and that is start window shopping. Now, the operative word here.
Shopping for windows.
The operative. Oh my God! Some of these jokes are just the dumbest. So window shopping, and I emphasize the word window shopping because you are just shopping and not buying. Okay, you are going online, you're going into stores, you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at Craigslist, because there can be deals on those things that are worth picking up. Obviously, I still have a little bit of that garage sailor right inside of here. Start saving those links, like for oh, this is an actual couch that I could actually buy, because some of the stuff you see online, you can't actually find it or buy it, or it's $10,000. I guarantee you there's a better price than that out there. So you're starting to save those links. I usually save it inside of like a spreadsheet. And I believe that my philosophy is I want to make the whole plan before I start buying stuff, because during that process of doing the searching and finding the actual item, I might change then what I need to do with the side tables once I find the bed that I like. And if I just buy the side tables without knowing what bed, it just might not work out. So my philosophy is you basically get most everything figured out, except for maybe some of the smaller, touches, before I buy anything. Again, your ideas are going to change, and it's a bummer if you've ordered something and then you're like, oh man, now I want to do this whole other thing. That's not good. Window shopping, not buying. You're going to basically be getting your bearings on exactly what you want. And you're also going to be price comparing. So you're going to be going around and going, I really like that, but boy, I bet I could find a less expensive version of that. Okay, so that is for this week. Next week, we are going to talk about some tips before you buy. Let's make sure we check off some boxes of the things that you need to make sure you've figured out before you go out and purchase a bunch of stuff. Okay?
Cool. All right. So we got a little bit of time here. Let's talk about buyer's remorse. And the reason this came up is because in a market...
I thought we were going to talk about this.
Are you so remorseful of
talking
about buyer's remorse? It's such a strong seller's market.
Yeah.
It's, there's two things. Actually, there's two basic buyer remorse categories that are happening right now in the real estate market.
Okay.
The first one is called post-pandemic buyer's remorse.
Okay.
Oh, damn it. Now I'm going back to the office and the kids are going back to school. We don't need this much room. We shouldn't have bought this huge house.
Okay.
And the other one is around like young buyers, especially first-time home buyers. Okay.
Yes.
So let's just talk a little bit about the post-pandemic buyer's remorse. Disappointed or sad, or maybe thinking that you made a mistake leaving where you were and moving to Spokane because I'm teasing, but moving across country. Right. Some people are just moving to bigger houses or moved to bigger houses. So first of all, if you really hate your house, you've probably gained enough equity in the last year that you can sell it.
Yeah, that's
so. At the end of the day, if it was a bad mistake, which it could have been, maybe you should consider seeing if you can get out of it and get into something that's a better fit for your family long term. The other thing that I wanted to, I guess, just encourage in this world is just take a second, a deep breath, and a step back and think about, this was the intent of why we bought this, was to have a homeschool room and an office so that I could work from home, or my spouse could work from home, or a partner, or whatever. But does that offer for more guest rooms or the parties that you couldn't have during the pandemic that
right.
you haven't experienced yet? A craft room, or are you ready for COVID-24?
Sure. You know what? Actually, another thing that I would just mention, we've been watching the Olympics, and it's in Japan. And we had and so the kids and I were talking about Maya. Maya lived with us for 3 years at our other house, which is a bit bigger. And it was a wonderful opportunity. So, like, what are they called? Homestay programs from SFCC. So if you end up with an extra room or space, like we had a whole like bedroom, bathroom combination thing that was not being used. And we thought, this would be great. It gave us a little extra income. It brought a person into our home that became part of our family.
Yeah, that's cool.
And my kids still adore her, and she lives in Japan now and has a kid, and it's great. So that's another, like, if you have buyer's remorse, but it doesn't make sense for you to move, then I think it's a great idea to kind of think outside that box.
Yeah, or like Airbnb type stuff, depending on how your house is set up.
Sure.
Like you could take a part of the house, or anyway. So in that world, before you just
throw in the towel,
toss it and move on, think about maybe some of the other uses. Let's talk a little bit about young buyer regret or buyer's remorse, because the reality is in a market like this that is so competitive, sometimes when you get your offer accepted in that moment, you're like, oh crap,
what did I just do?
How much more did we pay than the list price?
Yeah.
And so let's just talk about a few things that can help buyers, young buyers, first-time buyers, whatever that is, avoid some of this buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
So I think the very first thing you can do is prepare in advance what your strongest offer is up front and know when your moment to walk away is. So rather than getting caught up, and I think that's where the buyer's remorse really comes from, is like, oh, well, you put your offer in here, but there's 6 other offers and they're up to this price, and now there's all of this like anxiety of, oh, we're going to lose out on another house. Maybe we can pay more, or we can do that. Like,
it's almost like being at like a gambling table and not knowing what your limit is.
Or an auction, right? Where they kind of whip people up and you're like, okay, I still want that, and I'm going to pay $3,000 more than I thought I did, or $30,000 in house world. So I think knowing your game plan, and understanding understanding your long-term purpose, right? So, maybe I do pay a little bit more than this house is worth if there's a flattening out or something to that effect, or I'm not going to be able to sell it in the next 2 or 3 years. But how much equity am I going to gain from just being able to pay down a mortgage rather than continue to pay rent and have my rent go up X number of dollars per month in the next 6 months or year?
Right.
So I think that's a big piece of it, is just knowing what your strongest offer is, sticking to your guns, and being willing to walk away at that moment. The other thing where buyer's remorse can come in is when you're in the home. Now you've lived in the home for a little bit, and there are things to do that you didn't anticipate. So what is happening in these really highly competitive offer situations is that buyers are looking at an inspection report, and they are looking at really the most, in desperation, they're glazing over the report.
Right.
And they're looking for the most impacting things. Like, is the house falling down?
Right. Is the roof? Yeah.
Oh, the roof isn't rotting? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
But what they are doing as buyers is they're missing some of the deferred maintenance that's there. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you as the buyer are going to not buy the house, but if you take a minute and you look at it and you understand what it means for your water heater to be at the end of life 8 months after you move in, when your water heater craps out and you have to buy a new one, at least you knew that was coming or could be coming, right? And that's where a big buyer's remorse will come in.
Yeah.
The last thing I have on here is having a clear plan and realistic expectation of repair and renovation costs, which kind of ties in a little bit with that last one. But if you're buying a house and you're like, you know what, we can buy this house and we'll just remodel the bathroom because then it will be what we want it to be, and we can still get into a house now.
Yes.
Take the time to actually know what the cost of that's going to be.
Yes.
Because my guess is
it's probably
that
double
unless
what you
you're
think
a contractor, you probably don't know what it costs to remodel a bathroom right now.
Yeah.
So, and you're not going to always have time to do a ton of those details. So maybe you get some estimates from some people and then you add 20 or 30% for error.
I mean, if you're someone who's going to buy a house in a market like this and you don't have like unlimited funds and you're starting to realize, oh gosh, what I want is more expensive, which means I'm going to need to go down. You probably should research that, whether you have a house in your sights or not. Like, know what a remodel costs on a bathroom. How much is it for a tub? How much is it for a toilet? How much is it?
Yeah, if you're going to be in the world of renovation in
that way,
some way.
know when you go into it how much that bathroom is going to cost you. If you're going to do it, if the contractor's going to do it. Can I add one thing to this whole thing?
You should. Yeah, just do it.
Okay, here's the one thing that I will add. I believe that you also need to make sure that you are coming up with we will not compromise on this thing. Because that, I just talked to...
What do you mean by that?
I talked to an agent this week who said, my clients want out of this contract. And I was like, okay, have you talked to them? Why do they want to get out of it? You know, we're trying to help them get out of the contract, making sure they could contractually leave the contract. And it was like, they were just so desperate that they were putting in offers. They were putting in 20 offers a week, and they got this one. And now they realize, oh, it doesn't have a garage. It had 3 major things that were like deal breakers for them. And they were deal breakers. And now they're in the contract going, what have we done? Like, why are we buying this house if it doesn't have this, this, and this? So you should write your non-negotiables down.
It comes back to understanding at the very beginning, not just how much you're willing to pay, or what the most you're willing to put down as earnest money, or whatever those things might be, but it is the non-negotiables. We're not buying a house that's on an arterial, or we're not buying a house that doesn't have a garage.
Right. Now, if you're going to go back to the drawing board, let's say you've made some of these declarations and you've said, we're going to do these things. You know, don't have it be a 5-minute conversation with your partner. Like, take some time and sleep on it and talk about it before you compromise some things that are maybe going to be a big deal that you cannot change. You cannot change a busy street. That's not a possibility. You can change a bathroom. And maybe you just live with that bathroom. We lived with a pretty yucky bathroom for 4 years or so, you know, and it was just because we didn't have the money.
And we knew we would eventually get to it, and it was functional, and it worked, and it was, when you say yucky bathroom, it was just like super dated and yucky. Yeah. You know what? The woman who lived in the house before us died in that bathroom. What? Yeah, it's true.
Anyway, I just think that that's also a really good thing.
Yeah, it was a yucky bathroom, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was.
But we dealt with it.
We were young, and we had a couch that I found on the side of the road.
We had a couch from the curb on a street, some busy street up north, so who cared about the fact that somebody died in the bathroom?
No big deal.
Whatever. Well, I think that's all we have for Spokane today.
I
hope you made it through the entire episode.
If you have any questions, please call 509-62-HOUSE. If you'd like to email us, info@everreal.com, and then you can see us on all the social media. It's EvoReal, EVOREAL.
We'll talk to you next week, everybody.
Bye.